Namaskar, I am Prasad Gadkari, Student Counselor at IITJ Health Center. My greetings to the IITJ Parivar, which includes faculty colleagues, students, administrative staff, technical staff, and family members, including parents, children, spouses, siblings, and everybody else. We have this large extended IITJ Parivar, and all of us are right now facing COVID-19 pandemic stress. I'm going to speak and share with you all some of my views and suggestions which could hopefully help all of us to understand the enormity of this problem, the various psychological aspects and dimensions, where is it hurting, where is it hitting, how to understand it, how to cope with it, and how to get on with it. You will realize that this pandemic has had such a big and vast effect on everybody, on all professionals, be it engineers, be it doctors, right from cleaning staff, healthcare workers, to every profession. No profession, no part of life has remained unaffected. So I hope a psychologist's perspective on this will be interesting for you to know, and it will help you to enhance your coping. That's why I have kept the title of today's interaction as COVID-19 stress, how to enhance psychological coping. Well, there are many words of describing COVID-19 stress. Unprecedented, unparalleled, worldwide, unimaginable impact. This has brought the whole world to standstill in actual terms. COVID pandemic has tamed and challenged the supremacy of human race. It has stopped each and every aspect of our normal daily life. The pandemic is attacking us not in isolation, but along with it, we have huge infodemic. So, along with the dangers of illness, all of us are flooded with the information on social media, on internet, on all sorts of mediums of information. More than information, there are misinformations, all kind of stories. From public health perspective, this is a biggest public health crisis since last maybe 10 decades, maybe 100 years. To best of my knowledge, there have not been so many deaths around the world, and it has flattened the difference between developed world and developing world. Now, since the enormity was so much, the enormity was so much that people's mental health issue had taken a back seat. because everybody was extremely worried about one's own life and safety. A journey from Jaan Hai to Jahan Hai started in March with first lockdown in our country to Jaan Bhi or Jahan Bhi, where the whole economy was shaken. We wanted not only to live, but we wanted our economy, our social lives, our daily lives also to run normally. And it gradually converted into a real public nuisance. So from complete lockdown, the whole country, the policymakers, people, family, they are now struggling to find answers of how to unlock the locked society, the locked economy. The new year since March has been extraordinarily challenging. Now, how was our psychological journey from March onwards? We started with extreme vague fears. We became homebound. We became so paranoid that we stopped even our morning newspapers. We stopped buying groceries. We would suspect every vegetable vendor. We forced our children in house. We were shocked at the helplessness and the complete closure of so many things which were beyond our imagination. Nobody imagined largest organization, railway network of the world, that is Indian Railways, came to a standstill. It became a headline. Rails were cancelled, flights were cancelled. All of us were worried about kids and kins who were stuck somewhere. Hostels were emptied, colleges were closed, IITs were not exception. There was exodus of millions of people, workers across the country who suffered walking long distances, jumping into trains. So it was a very painful beginning, and this was the time when all of us were very, very worried and anxious, every day wanting to know what is going to happen next, what is going to happen next. There were positive copings also, and that's the human nature. There was a small proportion of people who in the beginning said hooray, because they looked at it as an unplanned holiday, a break, a chutti from the very routine life. People got a lot of me time. People got chance to sleep, chance to sit at home, to relax, to do nothing, to not be accountable. And there was huge flood of Facebooking, WhatsApping, blogging, cooking, sharing recipes, gaming, chatting, video sharing, binge watching, and there was a huge spike in data consumption. Almost a month went like this. And then reality started hitting us hard. It was slow and steady, but it was hitting. We realized that how helpless we had become. Boredom started setting in. Social distancing caused social isolation. We started feeling little low, little irritated, little depressed. Worries, anxiety started taking over. Many of us started feeling financial punch. started worrying about the financial health of families, and this point onward the stress and fatigue started setting in. What we realized was that world did not remain same. The world had changed. Social distancing was causing social isolation. In the peak festival and marriage seasons, lot many weddings were cancelled, lot many family gatherings were cancelled. People got confined to their homes, in their families. The jostling for the personal space started. The time came when the siblings, parents among themselves started having differences of opinion, started objecting to each other's sleep routine. So that initial honeymoon phase of being at home, eating homemade food, all those things, they slowed down and the stress started. Disagreements started coming to fore. We started objecting to each other's lifestyles. There was a fatigue. You can call it contact fatigue. And psychologically, all of us started missing the freedom of movement, freedom of privacy. We started having problems of unstructured living without any aim and without goal. Large number of people felt that their status was reduced to just eating and sleeping, waking up to do nothing, eat and sleep cycle. I remember reading a very funny kind of WhatsApp where somebody had written that we have become like ape men. So the moment morning happens, all of us rush to the grocery shops, collect lot of food, come back, eat, sleep, and again wait for the next morning and do nothing. This has caused a lot of stress. My idea to take you through this whole continuous process of human mind was to highlight that in this whole process also we have been trying our hard to cope with whatever is coming. So in every household, lot many grandparents were seen playing ludos. Lot many young men were seen falling in love with books. So yes, there were positive copings also. There were negative copings also. And then came the challenges across all ages, genders, and life stages. What I mean to say, the challenges came to young children, slightly older kids, students, parents, mothers, housewives, ladies, gents, people in different life stages, retired persons, people who are beginning their careers, people who are in midway of their careers, from school, studying, employment, and elder medical care. You cannot find any area where the basic rules of engagement changed. Doctors were not opening their clinics. Elderly people were not getting their medicines. Policemen on duty were getting terribly tired and irritable. Young babies, small children were asking very difficult, irritating questions to parents that why can't I go out, why can't I play in the balcony, why can't I play in the garden. Mothers were finding it very difficult to put a mask on, say, 3 year, 4 year old child. There were families where elderly and young children, both the vulnerable populations, were residing, so they were housebound. So, whatever we were doing, there is that legal word caveat. The COVID caveat has always been there. Go to the market, you can do this, you can do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. Going to the medical store, you can do this, you can do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. At every phase and every part of our life, the new set of do's and don'ts has started overwhelming us, and all of us have been forced to learn and spend our psychological energies in learning so many things which we never imagined. The healthcare system has almost collapsed. Doctors are tired, health workers are tired. So from psychologist's point of view, I would say the headline of this COVID-19 stress is, within inverted comma, uncertainty. Uncertainty about everything. Uncertainty about living, uncertainty about dying, uncertainty about growing, uncertainty about retiring, uncertainty about money, uncertainty about food, and whatnot. So at every aspect, we are facing extreme uncertainty. None of us can visualize future. None of us can predict how the Diwali is going to be in this year. None of us can visualize what will happen when Christmas comes. So living day by day in such uncertainty. In such state, there are psychological reactions which all of us are facing. Even psychologists are not exceptions, because all of us are human beings. The reactions are feeling anxious, worried, helpless, sad, irritated, angry, depressed. So people who are prone to anxiety, they experience a lot of restlessness, their sleep is disturbed, they cannot think straight, their concentration is not proper, their memories are affected, they cannot relax. They have physical symptoms of indigestion, acidity, lack of appetite, or binge eating. Then there are people who feel angry and irritable. So what happens to them? They find that they have become short-tempered, they have become quarrelsome. Whenever they go to market, they just cannot tolerate even a minute's delay if the shopkeeper is taking more time. If some policeman stops them and asks them about their mask or something, they'll end up fighting. There are, in extreme cases, domestic violences. Family members are fighting with each other, shouting at each other. So these are another set of reactions. Then there is other set of reaction which is related to depression. People who have tendency to feel disappointed easily. They are continuously searching the web and net and reading lot of negative news. They are getting terrified with the huge figures of deaths, illnesses. They watch the news, but every day, every news bulletin make them still lower, still sadder. Many of the people have lost a lot financially. They have lost jobs, they have lost finances, they have lost investments. They are worried about their bank deposits. They are worried about their daughters' marriages. All these things are making them very sad. In extreme cases, people are harming themselves. People are trying to kill themselves. So these are the major dimensions of psychological reactions to this COVID-19 pandemic stress. Anxiety spectrum, anger irritability group, and depression group. And of course, there are those people who already had some psychological problems even before the pandemic started. They are the most vulnerable people, just for the simple facts that they are just not able to get their medicines in time. So for example, a fearful obsessive compulsive disordered patient who already was having complaints of hand washing, now all over the world, television, radio, everybody is asking them to wash hands more and more. It's a very tricky situation. So now, from psychological point of view, COVID-19 stress has brought some challenges which are very difficult, and some hidden opportunities and new learnings also. So yeah, we are also hearing the news of pollution coming down, traffic reducing, cities becoming clean, rivers becoming nirmal, all the factories and drains have stopped, so water quality improving. We also read the news of wild animals and birds and chirping more, greenery increasing. Yes, there are these unintended positive outcomes also. And not to forget to mention, there are so many people who have not been able to get their next cigarette, next peg of alcohol, tobacco, and they are still surviving. Anyway, so this stress is so multidimensional, and the losses and the time gap is so much that even the process of recovery is also going to be very demanding. It is going to ask us to cope with it, to withstand it, individually, personally, as a family, as a society, and as nations also. So, how do we cope with the pandemic stress? The basic idea of coping with this stress is slow but steady progress towards acceptance of reality and positive skill building. We need to accept the reality that COVID-19 is not a dream. We will have to accept the limitations of medical field. We will have to accept the limitations that The exact medicine for COVID is going to take a long time. We will have to accept that prevention, social distancing, all these painful uh, restrictions on freedom are going to be real and for a long time. So at least for near future, maybe for 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, gone are the days of spontaneous travels, journey, going for tours, eating out. All those very, very innocuous, pleasurable activities are going to be restricted. So what I meant to say is that the first step towards coping is acceptance of the reality. We have to accept it. Especially for students, because I hope lot many IIT students who are right now either at homes because they vacated their hostels, or some of the students who are, because of personal reasons, they could not go home, so they are stuck in the hostels. For all the students, the whole paradigm of teaching, learning is drastically changing. The campus life has halted, gone for a 6, and all the students are forced to study online and via other methods. One of the favorite instruments of 21st century, obviously the mobile phones, which students population used to learn or used to like so much, now they have become headache, because on the same mobile phones you will end up attending lectures, classes, discussions for hours together. So this is a typical example of all the students having to learn these new way of learning, because life is not going to stop. Now, if you talk of coping, is it right that we just take it as a threat and difficult time? No. Especially young students should take it as a hidden opportunity. Not being able to go to campus, being at home, being in the family, or wherever you are. For all the students, this is an unintended chance to enhance life skills. By life skills, I mean learning to become self-dependent, learning to take care of self, cooking, cleaning, washing one's clothes. See, look, these things look very trivial otherwise. But now it's an opportunity for you to learn. Because not only students, even families and housewives also are realizing that getting a housemaid is so difficult. So there are going to be so many months when all the family members will have to run their own washing machines. They will have to wash their own clothes. They will have to wash their utensils. So for students, apart from picking up new skills of online studying, I suppose psychologically it will be a good stimulating idea to take this opportunity for life skills learning. This is also an opportunity for students to learn the internet etiquettes, learn to write, learn to express, blog. Apart from studies, nobody stops a student to write a poetry or paint or another kind of fine art skill, to learn it simultaneously. So for students, this whole pandemic stress can be a triggering point for innovations. They can be innovative about all those difficulties which they are facing to overcome the hurdles of social relationships, hurdles of studying, hurdles of sharing the notes, hurdles of communicating with faculty members. So students need to be little innovative and open to the new ideas of learning. For all adults, this is a hidden opportunity for adopting a healthy lifestyle. As I said earlier, all smokers, tobacco users, alcohol users have this best golden opportunity to quit their own addictions and save a lot of money. Because it's a reality that all over the world, the costliest things are going to be fuel, alcohol, and substances. These are the three things on which governments can impose taxes. So it's a good time, it's the right time to quit smoking, quit tobaccos and other substances. For all of us, it's a good opportunity to develop healthy eating habits. Since we are helpless, we don't get anything outside. So almost unwittingly, the junk food is gone. I am not extremely helpful that once things become normal, nobody would like to eat pizza and burger again. But to develop the liking for homemade food is very, very important. From healthier lifestyle point of view, eating healthy, developing better sleeping habits is one of the very baseline. So not only for adults, even IIT students, because I know for myself with my own hostel experience in my student life to the current students who live in hostels, sleep cycles are reverse. Students keep awake whole night and sleep for very few hours. So this is a good time to develop good sleep hygiene, because sleep habits and eating habits, they are highly responsible for developing hypertension, cardiac problems, diabetes, which are called lifestyle disorders. So logically, if a majority of people start living and eating healthily, the possibilities and risk of hypertension, diabetes must reduce. This pandemic is also teaching us to save on our resources. I haven't heard since last 2-3 months any of my friend going to a shoe shop and buying chappals or shoes, because simple logic is what to do with the shoes, where to go. In the normal course, people end up buying shoes every 3 months, every 4 months. I am giving a very broad example, but the change in current lifestyle has definitely given us opportunity to save on unnecessary spending and resources, to recycle. It has also given us opportunity to understand the benefits of clean environment, low traffic and calmness. Psychologically, whenever things become normal and I'm driving a two-wheeler, I should think twice before I honk in a traffic junction. So noise pollution will automatically come down. So all of us need to understand that if we live and learn to live in a friendly manner with the environment, we have to give up a very little but gain a lot. From that point of view, the COVID-19 crisis has some silver linings also. Now, after talking about healthy lifestyle and routine, I will specifically talk about the psychological health and how to take care of the psychological problems of worry, anxiety, depression, irritability, and so on and so forth. So even otherwise also, it is always advisable that all of us should have some personal me time where we have this privilege of slightly sitting back, reviewing the life situation, reviewing the goal, introspect what is happening with us, how am I behaving, what am I doing in my life, am I able to achieve my goals or not. So this pandemic has given us that training that we must start looking inward. That's the first condition of good psychological health, that the more you become self-aware, it is highly likely that you will make an effort and make an attempt to correct yourself, to improve upon your skills, and to be a better person. That is the power of being alone and being silent. And probably that is why all the big thinkers and Rishi Munis, they used to go and sit in isolation. So let me tell you, isolation is not that bad. Sometimes we require it. We also must learn to take information holiday. If there is no major occasion, we should, anyway, since we are working from home, we should see that what happens if I keep my mobile away for 1 hour. What happens? Let me check what happens if I do not check my WhatsApp or Facebook for say 5 hours. So unknowingly, this stress situation is giving us an opportunity to win back our freedom from gadgets. We have got too habituated to hear 100 news in 100-minute kind of bulletins, but we have almost abandoned our pleasure to keep reading newspaper from the heading to the last page of publisher's name. So this is a good opportunity to introspect and reassess our strength and liabilities. In psychological terms, it is called SWOT analysis. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are going to be the threats? Next point. We must include some kind of meditative or relaxing exercise in our day-to-day life. The minimum simplest possible exercise is deep breathing or very basic yoga techniques of say Shavasana. Deep breathing, you can have set of say 10 deep breaths or 15 deep breaths 3 times a day. एक बार बैठिए 10-15 बार अच्छा लंबा डीप ब्रीदिंग करिए, फिर काम पे लग जाइए. आफ्टरनून में फिर से करिए. So deep breathing helps you a lot. How does it help? Because of stressful situations, we'll end up having short breathing. And it reduces the oxygen in our brain. So deep breathing and yoga techniques are very, very important aspects. If you like meditation, that would be very, very beneficial. We should add or include time scheduling and review in our lives. So though you are at home, though you are hostel bound, though you are room bound, make a timetable and try to follow it, because following it will give you the feeling of mastery. We must have a good quality social and emotional connect with near and dear ones. So rather than being worried about how many likes I got and how many dislikes I got on this post and that post, we can use this time to cement our relationships with our real near and dear ones. It's high time that we share skills and share difficulties and solutions with like-minded people. The two faculty members, two staff members, suppose both of them have some elderly person at home. They can share their experiences and skills of how to take care of these elderlies. Some mothers who both of them have young babies, they can share their skills of how to take their care. So sharing is very, very important. We must check excessive use of internet and social media, as I told earlier, and we must take designated information breaks. So some designated hours where you are away from the gadget, you are sitting and relaxing. We can use this opportunity of COVID stress for working on our relationships. Having a calm mindset, listening to others' point of view, using kindness, empathy and forgiveness is one of the very basic ingredient of good relationships. Of course, saying sorry also. Since we have a lot of time, we can review our relationships and improve upon them. And all of us know that right at the right time, if you say sorry to somebody after making a mistake, they like it. This is a time to learn to respect all the human beings as they are. All of us are realizing the importance of small workers, right from nearby kirana shop to the safai wala to a person who presses your clothes or your vegetable vendor. So we learn to respect all these people. This is an opportunity for us to work for better environment, because we have tasted the strength of clean sky, clean air because of this COVID pandemic. The feeling of anger, feeling of helplessness can come down if we are doing some kind of relaxation or yoga and we are little thoughtful with deep breathing. Whether you are living in a flat or whether you are living in a house, someday, if you have not tried, just try to grow a small tree and your depressed feeling or helplessness will come down, because it will give you the pleasure of creativity. So what I mean to say, that anxiety, worry, tensions, depression, anger, irritability, poor sleep, poor appetite, these are very, very normal and spontaneous reaction towards the COVID-19 stress. Yes, it may increase or decrease as per the individual differences, because all of us are not same. Some of us may have a slightly intense reaction, and some other people may have little less intense reaction. That doesn't either make us very strong or very weak. It just gives us insight about what kind of persons we are. So this is going to give us opportunity for acceptance of ourselves also. In the beginning, I had said that we need to accept the reality of pandemic, that it is going to stay with us for long. When I am coming to end of my talk, I am saying that this COVID-19 stress is going to give us opportunity to accept ourselves also. The natural skills and tools like yoga, pranayam are the basic advantages which we do have as Indians. This is going to give you opportunity to develop faith in something, somewhere which is Sarvashaktiman, which is powerful than us. And maybe especially young students who feel that, well, science is everything, they may sometime try to understand the power of prayers also. There is no harm in trying. I am not hinting at all of you becoming very over religious, etc. What I am trying to say, we should utilize all the positive and possible coping strategies at our command, because that is the best choice to deal with a world which is already imperfect. We don't know when the COVID will be over. We don't know after the COVID gets over, the skies will again get polluted, the rivers will again get dirty, the crowds will again increase, and the world will go back to the square one. We don't know. But from our point of view, from psychological point of view, we must remain hopeful. We must feel that my home, my neighborhood, my college, my campus, my workplace remains clean, remains workable, remains likable, and I develop positive relationships, positivity in my attitude, positivity in my work life as much as possible. Once an individual has this positive tilt towards coping, it cascades to the family, it cascades to the society around, it cascades to the nation also. I hope my talk will be useful for you to think and ponder, to be innovative, to think of exercises which will help you to remain fit, whether it is walking, whether it is deep breathing, whether it is having a small jog, whether it is skipping, whatever. It will give you a good lease of life. It will give you strength to fight the lifestyle disorders. It will reduce the risk of the future diabetes, hypertension, heart attacks, and make all of us healthier people and a healthier nation. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward for feedback and any questions whenever we get opportunity to interact again. Thank you.